men who are going to be a judge or arbiter between you. Then he said to them, watch out, be on your guard against all kinds of greed. Life does not consist in an abundance of possessions. And then he told them this parable. The ground of a certain rich man yields an abundant harvest. He thought to himself, what shall I do? I have no place to store my crop. Then he said, this is what I'll do. I will tear down my barns and build bigger ones. And there I will store my crop and surplus grain. And I'll say to myself, you have plenty of grain laid up for many years. Take life easy, eat, drink, and be merry. But God said to him, you fool, this very night your life will be demanded from you. Then who will give you what I have prepared for yourself? This is how it will be with whoever stores up things for themselves, but is not rich towards God. The word of God for the people of God. Thanks be to God.
Thank you, Chance. Nicely read. Please stand as we are able. Let us prepare ourselves. Let us invoke the Holy Spirit for the message that we are about to receive from God. So please stand as we are able. Let us join together for the hymn. Well, there was a man who loved the money so much, and he loved the money that much that he did not love anything else more than that. And he did all his life, he worked and worked and worked and saved how much ever he could save. And he saved a lot of money, and before he died, he had a will, and he said to his wife, when I will die, you put all that money into the casket with me, because I want to take that money, when I die, I want to take that afterlife with me. One day he died, and his wife, at the funeral, before the casket was closed, the wife brought a box, and she put that into the casket, and the undertakers, they shut the casket down and they rolled that away. And there was a friend of the woman, and when the woman went to the friend, I know that you are not that foolish to put all that money in that box with that man. And she said, I did actually. I did, because I promised that I would do that, whatever he asked. And yes, I did. She said, how could you do that? She said, because I promised him, and he asked me, that was his will. He asked me to put all that money in the casket when he dies, so I did. He said, how come? I said, yes, I did that, and I just wrote him a check. So that's the kind of person that Jesus told about the story, that Jesus was in a big crusade kind of service, and there was thousands of people. There was so many crowds, and Jesus was talking about so much important things that related to God's kingdom. Jesus was telling them about the Holy Spirit, that you can talk anything against me, against the Son of God, but you cannot blaspheme the Holy Spirit. You can be forgiven if you talk anything against me, but if you blaspheme against the Holy Spirit, you will not be forgiven. And then Jesus said that you should be very careful what you say. What you say either in the doors closed, whether you say in whisper in the ears, you should be very careful, because one day whatever you said on this earth will be brought and will be proclaimed from the top of the roof. So you should be very careful about what you say. So these are the kind of things that Jesus is teaching about. And in that crowd, there are always people in worship, and I'm not talking about this worship service or this church, but there are always people in the worship services in the church that no matter how wonderful the sermon is, no matter how important the preaching is, they are in some other world at some point of worship or during the whole sermon. So there was a man who was going through the same thing, and while Jesus was preaching, he said, "Hey, teacher, can I stop you for a moment?" And Jesus stopped. He thought, that might be an important question that he might have. And Jesus stopped and he said, "Hey, I want you to talk to my brother and tell him to divide the inheritance." And Jesus, what? And I know that there were people around him, they were astonished too about what he was asking for, because that was not anywhere close to what Jesus was talking about. He had something entirely different that he was asking for. So last week we talked about another parable of prodigal son, and I talked a little bit about how the inheritance was divided. If the father was living, the father would divide. The inheritance was divided after the father would die. And the oldest son, he would get the double portion, double of the inheritance than the other children. And if there were no sons in that family, the daughters would get the inheritance. But there was a condition that they would not marry outside the clan or outside the tribe. So that was the land of the law in those days. So this gentleman who asked Jesus to intervene in their personal matter, in their family matters, I believe he was the younger son. Because it was the older son who would have inherited the double portion of inheritance. So either this younger son did not get anything at all, or he was asking more than what he owed or what he could receive according to the law. And he is asking Jesus, I want you to intervene. And that was normal in that culture. People would come to rabbis, people would come to the teachers, and they would ask for help in their family matters. And that was a normal thing for him. And Jesus refused to intervene. Jesus said, "Man, who appointed me an arbiter between the two of you? I am not here to solve your family matters." So Jesus refused to intervene in their family matter, but Jesus did not let that opportunity grow. Jesus did not let it go but Jesus used that opportunity to teach them something very, very important that man had brought. And Jesus told that there was a man, a rich man, who had one year he had a lot of abundance crop. And when he saw the crop, he was, "Oh my goodness, what shall I do? Because my barns are too small for this plentiful crop. What shall I do?" And Jesus said, the man who was thinking, the rich man, he was anxious about, the important thing about that rich man is, now here, just imagine, the man had a lot of blessing. The man had a lot of crop that God gave him, God blessed him with, but his attitude is that he's anxious. He is not anxious for something else, but he is anxious like a person who has nothing. And he's anxious that, oh my goodness, what shall I do? Because my barns are small, I cannot have all that plentiful harvest in my barn. So what shall I do? So he thinks, oh my goodness, what shall I do? What shall I do? Come on, what shall I do with this? So finally he gets an idea. And he knows, yes, this is what I will do. I will tear down these barns. These are old, these are small barns. I will tear down these barns and I will build a bigger barn so I can have all that crop stored in that. And then I will say to my soul, soul, you have plenty of crops, you have plenty to eat for years. Now you just rest and eat and drink and be merry. And Jesus said, God said to that man, tonight your life will be demanded from you. Tonight you are going to die. So whom all that will belong to, whom all that you have will go to. And Jesus said that will be with those who think that they have everything and now they have nothing to worry about, they have nothing to think about, and they have everything that they wanted, that they can live their lives. And Jesus said, that man is like the one, you have plenty of crop, and that man is like, if you inherit that, all that instance, in all that inheritance, this is how it will be with whoever stores up things for themselves, but is not rich toward God. And what Jesus is trying to say is, this man has a serious spiritual problem. He has a serious spiritual problem, and that problem is just to keep everything to himself. Whatever he has in abundance, whatever is he has overflow, he has everything. He wants to keep everything to himself. So this man is suffering from at least two problems. One is he never saw beyond himself. This is the parable that you see the words mostly in no other parable, like I, me, mine, mine. All about himself. He's so self-focused, he's so self-centered that he never saw beyond himself. And that is his bigger problem. That was his bigger problem that he was suffering from. John Wesley, he was the founder of Methodist Church. And he was working in when he was working in Oxford. His income was $30 per year at that time. And what he did was, he would live on $28 and he would give $2 for the church or for everything else to help others. Then when his income was $60, then his income was $90, then his income became $120 a year. He still lived on $28 and gave the rest to the church or to anybody else. So this is not a sermon on giving, that's not where I'm going. But just I'm trying to establish that what you do with the overflow. I know a person who, when he started a business, he made a commitment to give at least 40% of his income for the poor children for their education. And that he did not make a commitment when his business flourished. He made that commitment even before he started the business. He had made a commitment, okay, so I'm going to start beginning a business, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to give 40% of the profit of the business, especially for the education of poor Christian children. And this person, as I said, he did not wait for the business to flourish. When I have the income, then I will give. This rich fool's example is contrary to these two people. These two persons, John Wesley and that the person I talked about, they are not self-focused. They want to make a good use of what they have in their overflow. And this man, he wants to keep everything to himself, and he is worried about what to do with his overflow. And these two people, individuals, they are not worried because they know what they are going to do with their overflow, where that overflow came from, and where they are going to spend. And he was so much worried about the overflow. Second problem for this person was he never saw beyond this world. He never saw beyond this world. He never saw beyond himself. He never saw beyond this world. One day a young man and an elderly man, they were talking about, a young man was very ambitious, and he talked about, I am going to master in some trade. And the elderly man asked, then what? Then I will start business. Then what? Then I will make a lot of money. Okay. Then what? Then I will be more rich. Okay. Then what? Then one day, I suppose one day I will grow older and I will retire. All right. Then what? Then I will just spend my retired life and use all that money that I have saved. Okay. Then what? Then I suppose someday I will die. Then what? And that was a stabbing question for that year. Because he had never thought beyond this world, that what would happen once he died. And that is what this rich fool, he never saw beyond this world. All his focus was this world. I will do this, I will do this, I will do this, I will do this. And a monk, he was a 4th century monk, he was in a monastery, and one day he returned to his cell and he saw that a thief was stealing a little bit possessions that he had. So the monk came and he did not intervene, he didn't scream or he didn't cry, what are you doing and this and that. He started helping him, loading the possessions that thief was stealing without telling him that these possessions belonged to me. So he started helping him loading those possessions. And when he departed, the thief departed, this monk said, naked I came from a mother's womb, naked I shall return. God gave, God took away. Blessed be the name of the God. Now, this monk's story may not be literally so relevant to us. It was his life. I'm not advocating that kind of attitude towards it. But I think the point in this story is your freedom about your possessions. How much free do you feel about your possessions, about what you have, about your money, about your gifts, about your clothing? I mean, look at you. I can see my closets. Here is what I'm going to do. Hey Joe, can you hand me this suit? Hey, this is just one example. This suit, I just wore once, and it became, it doesn't fit me anymore. But here is my challenge with my possessions. Guess how long this suit has been there? Any guess?
10 years.
10 years? Any other? 15 years. And I just wore once, I think, once or twice. And this suit is still hanging in my closet. Can you imagine that? And this is a tailor-made suit. This suit is from those days when I could afford a tailor-made suit. And I love this so much. I cannot let it go. I believe, trust me, I thought so many times to give it to someone or to give it to some thrift store. But when I see it, oh my, that's my suit. I take it out. Now here's the excuse that I give to myself that I don't want to let it go is, I will work hard in the gym and then it will And that is what I'm thinking, at least for the last 5 years, and that is what happened. But the suit is still there. And I think that is true for many of us. Our closets are full. Sometimes I take out my shirt and the shirt, there are so many shirts or trousers or whatever, they just come down and that is what my wife does. She mostly does that. She fixes the closets. But I think there is a lot that I can let go. And I am doing this today. I am letting this suit go today. Trust me. And this is, hey, that is one area. Our closets, and I encourage you to do this week. Think about something that you are holding so much, and you're thinking, I will, and you're not letting that go. It may be clothing, it may be overflow of some of your resources, or it may be your gifts. Maybe you have a beautiful voice that you would sing in the choir, but you're holding that. You're holding that, no, I cannot let it go. Maybe this is a time for that. Maybe your gift is teaching a Sunday school or teaching a children's church, and you can let it go. Don't hold it. Don't hold it. So this is what I encourage you to do this week. Think about what you have in overflow. Clear your closets. Either you send that to some thrift store or wherever you want, or talk to us. We can make some arrangement where you can bring and we can do something, and that probably will be a beginning point to free yourself from your clinging to your possessions. You know what I mean? That may be a beginning point. The point is that rich fool. Why Jesus called them a rich fool? I don't think he was a fool in worldly terms. He was a man who could think so logically that he could produce a plentiful harvest. But his foolishness is when what he works, what he does with his overflow. All his focus was this word and himself. And his foolishness was that he was not he did not feel capacitated to think beyond himself or beyond this word. That is why he is called a foolish person. And Jesus ends this parable with this, and Jesus said that this is how it will be with whoever stores up things for themselves, but not rich toward God. This is what it means to be rich toward God. To let the overflow be shared with others. To let it go. So this week I challenge you to clean up your closets. I have given you my example. I am going to do this in our family, and I encourage you to do that. And think about what other things that you have in overflow that you can share with others. Because like that person who wanted to take his money with, he could not. And we cannot take anything with us, can we? No. Except for the treasure that we store in heaven. Jesus said, do not store your treasures on this earth, because moth and others will destroy that, will steal that. But the treasure that we store in heaven, no moth can destroy that. No one can steal that. So that is where I invite you to. That is what I encourage you to think this week. Amen? Please stand as you're able. Let us conclude our